guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kiri, and this is not a video I was expecting I was gonna make. I thought I was gonna keep this to myself and just sort of let it happen behind the scenes and not really share it with you guys. But then I thought to myself that, you know, somebody out there could potentially benefit from hearing my thoughts and just feel like they had someone to, you know, share maybe thoughts or frustrations with, or, you know, anything along this journey. So that's basically why I'm sharing this, both for those reasons and also for myself to kind of look back on in a year's time, in 2 years' time, when I've had my surgery, just to feel like, you know, just to see how far I've come myself. So I want to start by talking about how this all started for me and what my journey has been so far with weight loss and weight in general, because it has been a journey. It has been not one of the things I talk about the most. It's something I'm usually kind of private about, at least online. It's not something I share a lot. But when I first became overweight was probably in 9th grade or something like that. 9th grade, yeah. So I've been, what, 15, 16 at the time. And that's when things first started to get a little bit out of hand. I was gaining weight and I was not exercising as much, and yeah, it was in general not good. Within a year, I think I started out that year being maybe 70 kilos or something. I will put up on the screen how much it is in pounds and stuff, but 70 kilos roughly, and by the end when I graduated I was 90 kilos. So yeah, I put on 20 kilos within that year. That was a lot. But it didn't stop there. Unfortunately, I kept gaining weight throughout, I guess you would call it, it's called gymnasium in Denmark, but I suppose it's like high school. You can feel free to correct me in the comments below, but yeah. That's the next 3 years of my life. I gained even more weight and was up kissing a bit more than 100 kilos maybe. I did get it a little bit back under control around my graduation. I was trying every diet under the sun. I was exercising as much as I could. I was like putting all my efforts, everything I had in me into it, but it was just not... It just didn't really happen. Well, it did for a while. Like I would lose weight and then I would gain more back. So it was like the whole classic thing, and I tried to tell myself this is a lifestyle change. But it didn't really happen. I also had like I was at the hospital for some time. I was not like, you know, I was not at the hospital, but I was connected to a dietitian at the hospital for some time due to some like stomach issues, but didn't work out either. I ended up getting that back as well. So within the next couple of years after that and up until a few years ago maybe, I kept in that cycle, like gaining weight and losing some and then gaining more back, and I think I ended up being maybe, I want to say 120 something kilos at my biggest. I didn't weigh myself at that point. I didn't look at the scale. I didn't have mirrors. I didn't have any of that around myself. I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't want to think about my body. I was just wearing oversized sweaters and leggings, and that was the only thing I was wearing. I did not buy clothes for myself. I didn't want to go out really, and it was not a good look. It was not a good look. And then last year, well actually a couple of years ago still, I went to the doctor because I noticed that my period started getting irregular. And I was like, well, this is weird. Turns out I had PCOS, polycystic ovary disorder syndrome. Polycystic ovary syndrome, yeah. which made my periods very irregular, and also the doctor said that that could be a contributing factor to me having a hard time losing weight. It was not like, of course I could lose weight. It was not like I experienced not being able to at all, because I just kept gaining it back on. And then last year went to the doctor again because I started feeling strange. Just in general, like I felt like something was just off, something was just not really right. I don't know how to describe it. It was a very weird feeling. Like I was feeling overall very dry. My skin was very dry, even though I moisturized it, and I felt like dry from within almost, and always like super thirsty. And turns out, as I thought, that I had turned diabetic. So I had like diabetes, the second kind, not the insulin kind, but the one you take pills for. And I had high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And I was like, oh my god. This was last year. This was when I realized, you know, my body is effectively not enjoying this. I know that people can weigh much more than me, and the doctors are like, you're fine, you're healthy, there's nothing wrong with you, you're good, you're just overweight, there's nothing wrong with you. But my body does not like being overweight at all. And I had sort of this crisis moment where, I know it sounds super dramatic, but where I felt like, you know, increasingly while I'm getting bigger, like something in my body stops working. So I got really worried, and I decided that effectively I needed to do something about it. So in March last year, that was also the time where I was told I was diabetic. The doctor told me that, you know, they had these exercise courses, and then they could hook me up with a dietitious and stuff, and I was like, well, I was willing to give it another shot, but like in the back of my mind I did think that, you know, why would it work this time? It didn't work last time, or the time before that, or the past 10 years. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, I'm just gonna give it a shot, and, you know, give it my all, and hope that this time will work out different than the other times. So I went on that. I did mention to her about surgery back then. But we decided that, you know, we were gonna give it one more shot, so I did. And lo and behold, I am back at the weight I was back then. So it didn't work out. But yeah, and then in September I went to her and I was like, you know what, I want to look into gastric surgery now, and because it was really important to me, because I could quote unquote fool around with this for another 10 years and things would get increasingly worse and increasingly more bad or whatever, and I really had this strong feeling that gastric surgery was the right thing for me. So we started talking about that, and she said that she could see that I had researched it, I had thought about it a lot, and she would like to put me further in the system. So originally I went in the public system, or whatever you say, like, and I know there's a lot of controversy about that, but that's what I did initially, and I went to see dietitists and got my measurements taken and stuff like that, and I also was a part of like a liver experiment. They took a chunk out of my liver, and yeah, it was really uncomfortable to see what effects gastric surgery has on the liver. And then I went to these checkups and did all these things up until February this year. And then the whole epidemic thing happened. And I was actually at the point where I'm sure it's the same different places. I'm not sure it's the same different places in the world, but in Denmark you had to lose a certain percentage of your weight. It was 8%, and I did. And I did it with, like, you can also see it on my channel. There's like trying out different like dietist things and doing all that, which was fine. And then the epidemic happened and they cancelled the rest of my appointments. So here's the other thing. In the meantime, I got a job, and I did not want to be sick for the duration of, you know, when I just started a new job, I didn't want to be sick because it sends sort of a bad signal to your new employer. So I actually kind of gave up on the gastric surgery when they cancelled my appointments, because I knew that when I started working again, I was not going to be able to have the surgery. So then the epidemic happened, as I said, and I was sent home from work. And, you know, the public system shut down and whatnot. And then we got the news that the private system and the private hospitals opened up again. And I decided, you know what? It's gonna cost a lot of money, but it's worth it, and I want to be healthy, and I want to be better, and I want to not feel like this anymore. I want to feel better about myself. I also don't want to be sick anymore. Well, sick is a strong word. Well, I guess. I don't know. I did not want to have all these symptoms of being overweight. Like I want to live like a normal person, quote unquote. And it sounds weird because I am a big girl, like no doubt about it. There are so many people that are so much bigger than me, but for me, for my body, it just feels like this is way too much where I'm at, and I'm not happy about it. And this whole thing came crashing down to me when I was at home and I was just sitting here, and the more I thought about not being able to get the surgery, the sadder I actually became. And I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So yeah, I started the whole process with the private system, and this is actually going really fast because I had this online meeting the 22nd. Usually it's at the hospital, and there's a dietitian, and there's people who had the surgery, and there's the nurses, and you know, the operating people, the doctors and whatnot, and you can talk to all of them and stuff. But due to all of the pandemic and stuff, that was not able to happen, so we had a Zoom meeting instead. It was a little strange to have it all like that when you know it was supposed to go a different way, but it was still super nice and super informative. So I think what I am gonna end up doing is getting a gastric bypass, and that will probably be because I know getting a gastric bypass has more. You can end up having more things wrong with you with a gastric bypass compared to a gastric sleeve, but they're gonna take away my diabetes medication the day after surgery, and I should be able to get rid of my PCOS and all of these things. And one of the things that is a factor with a gastric bypass is dumping syndrome, and I feel like, for one, I would not mind that. That sounds strange, but in my mentality, I'm like, if I get physically punished for eating the wrong food, that might help me along the way. Also, I know there's a lot of controversy about gastric bypass being the easy way out. That's not how I see it. I don't see it as a miracle for me to lose weight like that. What it does is that usually you have this hormone that you release and then you feel full. But as you get bigger and bigger, and as you eat more and more food, you stop being receptive to this hormone that you receive, something along those lines, and the gastric bypass resets all that. So you would feel less hungry again. So that's where I'm at now, and I had blood work done the 22nd, I think, no, the 27th. I had blood work done. Today's the 1st of May, and I'm gonna have my operation the 12th of May and my pre-exam the 6th of May. So my plan is now that I am gonna I'm gonna take you guys along with me for the pre-exam. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to film in there, but I'm gonna film on my way up there, and if my sister is feeling up for it at least, because she's going with me, but she's also pregnant. So yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I am gonna update you guys, and my plan is to keep making these videos for you guys to follow along on how I'm doing and where I'm at and this and that and this and that. So that is pretty much where I'm at with this now. I'm excited, I am nervous, but I think it's gonna be really good for me to do this and to take the step in order for me to get better, essentially. I'm just really excited to get better. And it is gonna get worse before it gets better. I hear the first few days after the operation is killer, but we will take it as it comes. So yeah, if you have made it this long, thank you for listening to me babble for 15 minutes or something like that. And if you want to follow my journey or follow along, let me know if you had any surgeries in the comment section below. I would love to connect with you guys and hear how it has been for you guys and how far along you are in the process and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.